Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, February 5th, 9 a.m. Eastern. SPY bulls are seeing their continuation. We did have a bearish reaction to Google earnings, but not very significant. Google is still right at the low of yesterday, so we're not even seeing a gap down on Google, and it's being offset by financial sector strength. The financial sector has had a triple top on the daily time frame. The bulls are setting up to gap up open over that triple top. And again, as I highlighted in the video last night, we have SPY, IWM, QQQ, XLF all in an area on the daily chart with no resistance nearby. So it's easy for the bulls to trade higher in this environment. And we are seeing SPY bulls look to break the high of yesterday with a gap up open. We don't have a clear hourly support during the trading of yesterday on SPY. This is when I default to extended hours levels. If we had consolidated in the afternoon and established a little bit of a bull flag, that would be a more important level to me. But because we have nothing nearby, that's when I use the after hours level. So for SPY, 271.35 is the hourly higher low to try and keep those bulls in full control. And again, the resistance at these levels is limited. Looking at the daily time frame and zooming out, as soon as we got over 271.22, we had no resistance until 278.85. So I've got a bunch of previous resistance lines here from back when we were watching this triple top in the 280 range. But until we get there, there's a lack of resistance. So starting to approach an area where I'm looking to begin scaling into bearish positions, but going to be another 1% plus before I begin that. So letting the bulls do their thing at this point. And we have a higher low on the daily time frame every day for the last 5 days in a row. And we'll see if the bulls can keep that up again here today. Dollar on the daily. So we did break the daily lower highs on the dollar. Again, I'm just going to continue defaulting to the weekly time frame. It is clearly the most clear, in my opinion, the low, high of the bounce, higher low, and we're going to look for a lower high compared to 96.68 to stay in this tightening range through mid-February. So that's the key range to be watching on the dollar and anticipating it's probably going to tighten. Looking at gold, gold bulls are loving the pullback that we've seen right now, and gold bull miners are on watch today. Both gold and the bull miners have daily bull flags, and we're forming a daily inside bar. If the hourly ranges break bullish on gold and these miners, we're going to be looking to head back up to the recent highs and looking to see follow through and confirmation of this bull flag. So ideal consolidation, and again, why the bulls are so pleased with that consolidation is the dollar's been bouncing for 4 days, and gold has only been pulling back for 2 days, and the pullback is much healthier than you would anticipate that it would be. If we were going tick for tick inverse with the dollar, this pullback on gold would be more significant. That tells me that the consolidation is favoring the gold bulls. The relationship, the inverse relationship to the dollar is favoring the gold bulls. USO daily time frame is an inside bar. So we're getting the hourly equilibrium as anticipated, where we have our high, low, set a lower high this morning with a push up to 55.18 before a pullback, and it's been a hard pullback. Keep an eye on 53.28. It's a potential bottom fishing level as the hourly RSI is closing in on oversold again, but really it's the 15-minute RSI that if we do continue down and drop to lower lows is going to get back to oversold. So keeping an eye on a potential bottom fishing play. Let's see if the 4-hour chart is more clear, a little bit more clear here, and just anticipating that the bulls will likely be able to hold this support level this morning because we are extended down just like yesterday morning with the size of the pullback. Less of a pullback this time around, but still keeping an eye on that level. And also watching natural gas for a higher low on the hourly. So the bull move this morning on solid bull volume for natural gas has broken the hourly downtrend, but to confirm that trend change, we have to form a higher low and then see continuation. Ideal for the bulls would be to pull back and hold 271 and then look for that continuation move, and that would give us a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame, keeping in mind that anything on the daily under 318 is just a lower high. So we're not going to change the daily trend anytime soon, but the bulls are looking to change the 4-hour and hourly trends to get that daily bounce underway. So keeping an eye out for natural gas to give us an hourly higher low this morning, and keeping an eye out for oil to give us an hourly higher low this morning as well. Bitcoin, I'm starting to pay attention to the bulls. Not sure that, I'm going to be confident enough to enter into a stop buy trade for Bitcoin. But what I'm liking that's been standing out yesterday is the volume. So if we just look at the last 24, 48 hours of trading, it's clear that the bull volume is standing out more than the bear volume. We have increasing bull volume up, not really much bear volume on the pullback, increasing bull volume up, solid bull volume again, and we did break the hourly equilibrium bullish. I have a descending wedge that I'm watching on the daily time frame from the last 3 weeks of trading, where we have 3 clear rejections from resistance, which we are testing right now, and 3 clear bounces off support. More than that, about 5 clear bounces off support. Let's see if these bulls can give us a high volume day, because we need high volume to break this range and get over daily exponential resistance. We're going to need to see volume here on Coinbase over 9,000 in a day to get a clear break of this. So still skeptical of the bulls because they haven't been proving much, and that daily exponential resistance has been my guide. But other than that, keeping an eye on this potential setup, because the hourly volume in combination with this descending wedge pattern is keeping me on alert to watch these bulls to try and make a move here. So plays I'm watching today, I'm watching these bull miners. Again, looking at the consolidation on the daily time frame, it's a bull flag. It's very healthy. And if we look at what's going on pre-market right now on the hourly chart, the bulls are trying to change this trend in their favor to indicate daily consolidation is done, the higher low has been set, and the bulls are going to try and break the top of the recent move for continuation. So keeping an eye on gold bulls and miner bulls. Obviously, Canadian MJ is going to have a whole lot of volatility again today. That sector has been wild recently, and we're anticipating that temporary tops have been set in the sector, but we're going to have to break afternoon hourly consolidation lows from yesterday to further confirm that. And also going to be watching, again, the financial sector with its triple top on the daily time frame, getting a clear break of that resistance today, and again, entering the lack of resistance zone on the financial sector, and looking for follow through after sideways trading for the last 2 weeks. Certainly going to be interested in CMG's earning reaction. I'm not going to be doing anything with it until after earnings, but liking the CGC 4-hour equilibrium that is setting up and going to get real tight here before we get a reaction to those earnings. So key support is 522.76 and resistance is 536.92 to be watching. So let's get into some morning setups, and we'll start it off with Amazon and Google. So Amazon's trying to shift its hourly trend to indicate that the bearish reaction to its earnings is done with. And we're going to test this resistance first thing. It's up at 1649.63, so we'll call it 1650 psychological. And if we are able to shift that momentum, it's clear hourly lower highs. We formed an hourly higher low yesterday afternoon. That would change the trend if we can get over 1650, and the next resistance level is up at 1673 for the bulls to keep an eye on. So hourly trend change underway, or attempt underway. And if Amazon rejects from 1650 first thing this morning, we'll have an hourly equilibrium to be watching with 1623 as the key support level. So Google, a bearish reaction to earnings, not really significant, as again, we're $5 over the low of yesterday. So not a big bear reaction by any means, but we are looking for an hourly lower high to be set. So this bounce has now been taking place from after hours through pre-market. So we're keeping an eye out for an hourly lower high. I've got resistance up in the low 1140s from yesterday. So I would anticipate that we're going to form a lower high compared to those low 1140s, and then we'll look to consolidate and form a higher low compared to the low of the reaction of 1097. So 5-minute uptrend still intact for the Google bulls. Lose the 5-minute uptrend and the odds of our hourly lower high being set will increase. CSCO, another one that's very healthy daily or very healthy hourly consolidation. Daily was an inside bar. 47.12 break is bearish. 47.47 break is bullish. We're going to test resistance first thing. If we break 47.47, it's just 47.56 and then 47.90 from pre-market a couple days ago as a couple key levels to be watching before the bulls attempt continuation. So they're still in full control of their daily time frame, took a pause of sideways trading, and now going to attempt that continuation with a key test of resistance first thing. If we cannot break that 47.47 level, and if we come down and break 47.17, that's a red flag that daily consolidation to try and form a higher low is underway. EA, not a pretty equilibrium, but a tightening range on the daily time frame. Hourly chart, anything under 90.02 is a lower high, and bulls will have to form a higher low compared to 87.97 to try and change this hourly trend. And the key support on the daily time frame, it's a little bit choppy the last 2 weeks of trading on the daily, but it is a sideways range of lower highs and some higher lows, and the bulls must hold 86.82 on the daily chart. So I would anticipate that the bulls are going to be able to hold that level, 86.82, and an hourly trend change will tell us that our daily higher low has been established. But it's looking like EA could give us a tightening daily range into next week potentially, or maybe break right at the end of the week. But it's a good sign for the bulls, the fact that we're seeing a little bit of a higher open, because there was a lot of bear volume yesterday and a close near the low of the day showing bear momentum, and that's being changed a little bit with this pre-market action. PLNT. PLNT is another one that's trading pretty sideways on the daily time frame. We got a bull break on Friday with no follow through. Watching the hourly time frame, key resistance is 58.49 and then 59.08. And 59.08 is the level that we need to break to get follow through from this sideways daily trading. And most important short-term supports are 57.88 and 57.53. So the bulls do still have control at this point. They didn't get the follow through that they were looking for. The size of the pullback from that daily bull break was more than they wanted to see, but it did still keep control for the bulls. So they're going to make another attempt at some of these resistance levels. And as long as the daily chart doesn't break 57.53, the low of yesterday, that would be our red flag. But we can say that if the bulls maintain that support from here, that they do keep control. WING. Hourly bull flag trying to confirm, have to break 68.10, which is a double top from yesterday. If a break of 68.10 occurs, we've got 68.26, and then 69 psychological is the next levels. And for the bulls to keep full control, it's 67.55, the low of this hourly little bull flag attempt. If we break 67.55, there's a lack of support below that level, and that would indicate that a daily inside bar would be likely. So best case for the bulls is hold 67.55 and break 68.10 first thing this morning. It's going to be tested first thing, it looks like. LRCX. LRCX is, it looks like a rising wedge on the daily, so we need to be cautious as bulls. We got a pattern where we've seen higher lows on the daily 5 days in a row now. If we lose that pattern, that's going to be the first indication that this wedge is potentially breaking bearish. Support is 170.88, the low of yesterday. And if the bulls can break 173.95, they keep full control with the next resistance after that up at 174.67. So let's see if I can pull up a 4 hour. Definitely looking toppy on the 4 hour, but still keeping the uptrend. So it's one of those scenarios where as long as the uptrend keeps up, the bulls are just fine. But the setup is there that we definitely need to be cautious of a potential bear break of that rising wedge. STX. So STX is looking like we had a bearish reaction to earnings initially. We're looking for a higher low to form on the daily compared to 42.37. So we're still a decent bit above that support, although we did break it in the initial reaction after hours. So goal for the bulls is to hold 42.37 during regular trading. And it's looking like we're going to set an hourly lower high this morning, similar to what we're looking for on Google. Resistance is currently 43.95. If we can't break 43.95 after the bell rings, we're going to look to pull back down into the mid to lower 42s, and it will then be up to the bulls to have to hold 41.57, the low of that reaction, to try and form an hourly higher low and then try and change the trend for the bulls. But as of right now, this bounce is rejecting from the hourly exponential resistance, and we're looking for that hourly lower high to be set. So you guys with a stronger open this morning, but we're watching that natural gas consolidation as we're looking for the potential of the need to form an hourly higher low. So we can see the hourly chart getting over the 20-period resistance for the first time in 3 days, breaking some resistance levels of 31.95, but we need an hourly higher low and then continuation with a break of 32.14 in order for this to be a meaningful bounce and for it to translate into a daily bounce. So it's step number one of this trend change is here, but we do need this follow through to confirm that trend change. GoPro. Nice little hourly tightening range. High of 523, low of 512, lower high at 520, and higher low without any volume behind it, but 513. So the most important level for me is 512 support, and the bulls need a break of 523 for continuation. We had a bull break on the daily time frame yesterday, but an upper wick of profit taking. We can see that bull break occurred on 1 hourly candlestick, and then we gave it all back over the next 6 hours. So again, that's not entirely confidence building. It is keeping the uptrend intact for the bulls, so they're going to have another shot at it today to see that continuation. But if we break 512 this morning first thing, that's a loss of the hourly uptrend. That's an indication daily consolidation is coming, and it is a disappointing bull break from a double top of 509 and 510. So most important level, 512 and 523. And after 523, if that level does break, next level is 525 and then 545. WTW. Hourly bull break. So this is looking like a daily bounce might be getting going here. It's certainly taking its sweet time during this market strength, but an hourly equilibrium breaking bullish over 32.18, and confirmation of that bull break will be 32.35. And the next levels after that on the daily time frame, we're looking up at 32.82, 32.91. So space to the upside. The weekly chart certainly due for a bounce. And it's just been a slow bleed here, but it does look to be leveling out. This looks like a bit of a descending wedge on the daily that is just now attempting to break bullish. Worth keeping an eye here. Need to see the follow through and need to see solid volume today. Bulls want to see over 2.8 million shares traded on a solid green day with a break of 32.35 to have confidence that this momentum is shifting on the daily time frame. SQ bull break. So we had that lower high yesterday anticipated compared to 73.40, or I should say 73.86. We formed a higher low with afternoon consolidation, and now we're getting a gap up open pre-market that has our sights back on 73.86 key resistance. LHSIF. Hourly higher low to maintain the strength for the bulls is 851. Daily chart has had a solid few days here, shifting that momentum and seeing continuation with a bull break over the 85s from yesterday. But we have to be cautious. Again, what individual names are doing can very easily be outweighed by what the sector is doing. So individual names can have clear bull breaks, but if sector consolidation occurs right after those bull breaks, it can be overridden. So if we lose 851 support, the next support level we're looking at is down at 7.8. So there's a lot of space on the hourly where we may consolidate. On the daily chart, anything above 7.08, anything above 6.929 is a higher low on the daily. So I would say a daily inside bar is the most likely scenario here if we can't break the high of yesterday in the first half hour of trading. But it's all about hourly uptrends on the vast majority of MJ names. TDP.V or TBP. Got it on my other screen here. So we have weakness with bad news. 101 is key support. If we gap down below that, we're looking down at 87. So there's a lack of support. No idea where we're going to open up. But the daily higher lows will be intact as long as 83 holds. So the bulls do have a ton of space to work with, but this is obviously a big setback with the amount of profit taking we've already seen from the high. We're down about 12% from the high, and this is obviously going to be a more significant pullback. So let's see if the bulls are able to hold the low 80s. It would probably have to be very, very significant bearish news for that to not be the case. APHA. So we got profit taking, big time profit taking in the Canadian MJ sector, major names pre-market. We ran all the way up to 1195, 1196, and here we are down now about 7-8% from that level. So we're still looking at an hourly higher low because the afternoon must hold hourly higher low for APHA was 1031. We saw the strongest hourly consolidation for the bulls and then strongest follow through to close strong So the bulls are going to keep the hourly uptrend on APHA unless we break 1031. So we could pull back first thing once the bell rings to 1060 and still have an hourly uptrend, but we would anticipate that an hourly lower high is likely to form compared to the high of 11. It was actually 1198 where we got up to. So pullback is underway, but the hourly uptrend on APHA is probably not going to be lost this morning. And for ACB, it's similar. Anything on ACB above 785 is a higher low. Bulls are trying to form this higher low with pre-market consolidation. 813 is currently the low of consolidation. If we break 813, we can say that we haven't found a higher low on the hourly just yet. This is a setup for a potential head and shoulders pattern as well. So again, the size of the pullback from the high of pre-market, if we can't break that level in the first 30, 45 minutes of trading, we're going to look for the potential that it gives us. The left shoulder, this would be the head. So if we try to see a bull break once the bell rings and can't get over 855 and we top out and then head back down to the low of pre-market, that's the potential scenario of the head and shoulders pattern losing the hourly uptrend. So key resistances for MJ is going to be the high of pre-market for these names, and key support will be the low of pre-market, number 1, and then the low of afternoon consolidation as the key number 2 level. AWK. Healthy daily consolidation, trying to see a bull flag on the daily. Need to break 95.58 first thing, and then we're looking up at 96 and 96.14. So healthy consolidation, looking like a bull flag at this point, and we'll see if the bulls can follow through first thing this morning with a couple key resistance tests. Anything on the hourly above 94.78 keeps the bulls in full control. Not a clear hourly higher low at those levels, but with a lack of other clear support nearby aside from the low of the day, we're going to use 94.78 as the level the bulls want to maintain to keep full control. AMD. AMD is also healthy daily consolidation at this point. If we break 2407, which we are, so actually this gap down might erase that healthy part of the consolidation. Still going to maintain the daily higher lows because anything above 1905 is a daily higher low. But the more pullback we see here, the more likely that when we do find a daily higher low, we're going to bounce and form a lower high from there. So it's a big gap down open. It's a potential hourly bear flag rejecting from exponential resistance. And we're going to test 2320 as support. After 2320 is 23 psychological, and then 2283 as the next level after that. So certainly seeing some weakness in AMD pre-market. Daily chart's going to be just fine for forming a higher low, but no sign that we are done consolidating at this point. IAN, not going to be able to get it here. So IAN on the hourly chart to keep the bulls in full control, it's 702. Next support after that is 695. And key resistance is 718. And if the bulls are able to see continuation and disregard potential consolidation from the rest of the sector, 727 is after that. So again, there will be a few names that stay bullish with sector consolidation for MJ. But trying to pick who those names are going to be is a guessing game in my opinion. CNPOF. Consolidation on the daily, a little bit of alarming bear volume on yesterday's candlestick for the bulls. Certainly more than they would want to see. Hourly lower high, and if we see a more clear break of 404, it will be a lower low. We did break it by a few pennies there. So anything under 454 is just an hourly lower high, and the daily chart, next support is 351. So there's a good amount of space to the downside before we have next clear support levels. 398 and 390 are the first two support levels nearby, but a clear shift in momentum with the loss of the hourly uptrend, and now we're in an hourly downtrend, and the bulls are going to have to change that hourly trend back to bullish to give us our daily higher low. DELL, blue sky breakout. Hourly time frame, bulls want to hold 50.68 first thing to keep full control. If we lose 50.68 without being able to break the high of 51.81, we're going to lose the hourly uptrend and look for healthy daily consolidation. So that's the line in the sand the bulls must maintain this morning. And if we break 51.81, 52 psychological is the next resistance level. MRMD, trying to shift this hourly trend to form a higher low. Have to be cautious here because this is an MJ name, I believe. But again, the timing to try and change this hourly trend is not ideal if the sector is going to consolidate today. So just have to be aware that it could ruin this setup, as we are changing this hourly trend yesterday. Key support is $4, followed by $3.94, with key resistance at $4.22, and a lack of resistance after $4.22 if the bulls are able to break that level. NQ. So NQ daily continuation. We started yesterday with a nice tight hourly pattern to be watching. The bulls broke that bullish at 68.92.50. You can see we had our high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low, bull break with big bull volume. And we are now looking at 69.83. If we can't break 69.83, we're going to look for an hourly lower high to be set and then a pullback for another higher low. I would anticipate that we're going to be unable to break that resistance, just judging by how much the bulls have already used up their energy just to get towards that resistance. So keeping an eye out for the potential of a lower high being set there. You can see it a little bit more condensed on the 4-hour time frame. So 68, make that 69.28 to hold the 4-hour higher low. And key resistance test this morning. If we cannot break that resistance, look for an equilibrium. EMH.V was one of the stronger names in the MJ sector that stood out yesterday for its close. So we're going to test the high of yesterday. 416 has to break for continuation. If we can't break 416 and then pull back and break 387, that would be a red flag to lose the hourly uptrend. If we do break 416, we're looking up at 427 as the next resistance level. So just like everybody else, all about the hourly uptrend for the bulls to keep in control. Would I be scaling into shorts if I didn't need to hedge my parents' long positions? No, not at this point. I would wait for weakness. No reason to try and step in front of really strong bulls with no signs of weakness unless protecting other positions, in my opinion. EP or EB. Double top on the daily at $32. Have to break that level for a clear bull break on the daily. And bulls want to maintain the hourly higher low of 31.30 to try and keep full control. Bull flag on the hourly if we can hold 31.30, but the daily chart is all about 32 resistance with 32.86 as key resistance after it. UAA, healthy daily consolidation still. Again, we have to be cautious of the daily head and shoulders. If we see the bulls shift momentum and are unable to break 21.52 and then they fade back and break 20.50, that would be a bear break of the daily uptrend and a head and shoulders pattern on the daily. At this point, 2087 is a double top the last 2 days. So obviously if the bulls cannot break that level, we're not going anywhere for the bulls. And it's pretty much 2 daily inside bars in a row. So break of 2087 is bull, telling us our new daily higher low is clearly established at 2050. And a break of 2057 and then 2050 would be a clear bear break. So all about 2087 resistance. BA. BA clear, bull close yesterday up at the highs, blue sky breakout, 300 psychological, or I should say 400, we're breaking it. So no resistance in sight, 402 is next. And this is another one where we don't have any clear hourly support nearby, so the after hours level of 396.55 is support that I would be using. Stock draft over in BYOC channel. I couldn't have picked worse stock draft names. That's probably why I'm not a swing trader. SLV. SLV on the daily time frame, trying to form a daily higher low after consolidation, have to change the hourly trend for that daily higher low to be set. Most important hourly support is 1484 and key resistance is 1493. So set that higher low, break 1493, that changes the hourly momentum. That will give us our clear daily higher low down at 1472, and then we'll look at the next resistance level of 1497. So on watch with gold and these bull miners, as SLV had a bit more of a pullback than gold did on the daily time frame, but trying to shift that momentum similar to gold is today. ROKU, Big upper wick of yesterday. We're anticipating a daily inside bar today. We're looking for an hourly lower high compared to 50.70. And key support to keep the hourly uptrend is 46.89. Tons of profit taking in Canadian MJ to start. So we're going to test that key hourly support on some of these names first thing. Etsy. Bull start to the morning on Etsy. Key daily resistance is 55.88, which is approaching. And hourly support to keep the bulls in full control is 54.53. Cron following through. Tops are in for Canadian MJ for the vast majority of individual names now. Yesterday's highs. But we're starting 5-minute RSI oversold, so we could get a little bit of a bounce on the 5-minute time frame here. But now we're shifting our sights to hourly oversold. So we're not close to hourly oversold on a lot of these names, but that's where my attention is now. So there's CGC giving us our hourly lower high pre-market and extended hours, and now breaking support of 48.90, and things are going to get extreme here. Be cautious if you're trying to play these bounces because momentum has shifted in this sector. Now the question is, how much consolidation do we see? I would be comfortable with 5-minute RSIs in the low 20s on this all-out dump this morning for quick flips, but anticipating that 5-minute lower highs are going to be coming on these bounces for Canadian MJ. I'll get back to tickers in a second here. Cron's going to have more volatility than CGC, I would anticipate. So if you want higher risk and higher reward, you're looking at Cron. Things can get extreme. They obviously got extreme to the upside, so they can get extreme to the downside. Just be protective. And ideally, if you're looking for bounces, be scaling. And if your full position doesn't fill, it's no biggie. But we can see these 5-minute RSIs get down to the teens if these dumps do get extreme. Looking like CGC is starting a little bit of a 5-minute bounce early. Let's see if Cron is going to be a laggard on that bounce attempt, as Cron is still at the low of the day. And stops just triggered on Cron. Quick flush under 21. I was going to say I might buy a bear break of 21 here, but that happened very quickly. So CGC is getting a bounce, so that is leading to me to get into a quick Cron position for a flip, just based on CGC being a lot stronger. CGC is trying to go to the high of the day. So I'll get back to tickers once I exit this Cron bounce. I'd be a lot more comfortable with Cron if I could see CGC break the high of the day, although we're still a decent ways below it. So a nice psychological 21 flush that triggered some stops, but it was CGC's strength that gave me the confidence to get into Cron here. And I'm going to exit Cron if 21.30 breaks. There was a decent bid at 21.30. So it would be a red flag if that were to get sold into. It just held again at 21.30. SPY bulls in full control. They're looking just fine. XLF started strong, but a quick pullback, which is surprising because that was a key break of resistance on XLF. Here's CGC going towards the high of the day. It'll help the Cron bulls if we can get over it. I'm going to give the CGC bulls a chance at the high of the day. If we reject, I'm going to take my cron profit. So I'm out cron. That's enough of a pullback from me. Could get another entry for cron looking for a bottom fishing play with the low of the day, but clear enough rejection on CGC double top at the high of the day. CGC bulls could give it another shot here, but I wanted to lock that in. Certainly playing against momentum with the shift this morning. So back to tickers now. Lunch with Lori at noon. Make sure you tune in. She goes over charts. It's not just eating lunch. All about CGC high of the day here, which is going to dictate how much more bounce we can see. Did APHA really just bounce 10%? Wow. That's an extreme dump and bounce. ACB is the most solid. ACB has had a range of 2.5% this morning. So not seeing the fluctuations. But cron and APHA obviously ran a lot harder, so their volatility is a lot more significant. So CGC double top is now what we're watching at the high of the day. MJARF, nice job for the dip flippers in MJ first thing. MJARF daily inside bar very likely. We're being unable to break the high of yesterday of 380 first thing. And if we break 350 support, odds of a daily inside bar will be extremely likely. MPX is holding on really well considering market consolidation from the major names here. So still holding that swing position. Let's see if cron gives us a bottom fishing play. That 5-minute RSI on cron is still 24. Talk about crazy volatility. APHA hit $12 at the high of pre-market, and the low of the day is $9.25. TLRY and ACB out of the major names are the least impacted. But if you want volatility, cron and APHA are going to give it to you today. APHA is holding on to its bounce way better than cron is in terms of still being up 10% from the low of the day, whereas cron is heading back to the low of the day. Key support on cron is 2056. Again, it's a potential bottom fishing play, but even if 2056 were to break, that 5-minute RSI is going to be in the upper teens. So it would be hard to sell even if we do get a bear break. And keeping an eye on CGC because, again, that did give me the heads up on the cron bounce getting some follow through. And if CGC breaks the low of the day here, it's going to increase the odds that cron does as well. But cron bulls are attempting to hold this low. Here's CGC testing the low. New low of the day on CGC. Watching Cron close. I'd like to see a new low of the day on Cron and some stops trigger to get that 5-minute RSI into the teens. Again, APHA holding on to its bounce gains way better. So I just got back into Cron. Let's see if the low of the day can hold. Just saw a real quick shift, which was enough to get me in. I was just sitting there with my mouse hovering over the buy button. Getting some follow through on that bottom fishing play, holding the low of the day on Cron. SPY Bulls still in full control. So now here's a play where you're either setting a stop loss at break even on Cron or hoping that the bulls can shift momentum enough if, the selling pressure has dried up. I'm personally locking in gains again. That's a couple day maker. And now I'm going to chill out for a while. We're testing the 5-minute exponential resistance on Cron as well. That's worth watching, and that was my sell target. So I'm going to be done flipping now until we can get some tightening ranges to play off of. So market bulls in full control, tech sector leading the way. Lead tech bulls, yet again, are Apple. Well, actually, everybody's in line here. Apple, Amazon, and Netflix all neck and neck. So I'm going to be looking for Cron 5-minute equilibrium. We're going to look for a lower high compared to the high of the day and a tightening range from there. And now MPX is seeing a bit more profit taking in line with the sector consolidation. SQ, all bull. Blew right through resistance of 73.86. Nice tight hourly pattern breaking pre-market. And the next resistance level on SQ is 77.01. But bulls are pretty darn extended. Certainly no bullish entries at this point with the 5-minute RSI 93. MJ bounces, getting some more follow through. Again, APHA standing out. Oil on the 5-minute time frame, nice bounce. So the bulls held that support at 53.28. 5-minute has broken the lower highs, but we still need a 5-minute higher low and higher high to confirm that trend change and to confirm our hourly higher low has been set. But that volume climax is very similar to yesterday on the hourly time frame. So let's see if we get a similar outcome with some bounce follow through, but do need to confirm the 5-minute trend change still. So natural gas is now consolidating, trying to form that hourly higher low. We have to change the 5-minute trend back to bullish for our hourly higher low to be set. So anything on UGAZ under 31.45 is just a lower high. Great volatility in MJ, so we're looking for CGC to set a lower high compared to 49.32. We're looking for Cron to set a lower high compared to 22.38. C-Web. Clear daily consolidation underway. We had higher lows on the daily 4 days in a row. That broke. We broke the high of yesterday just barely. But again, it's one of those examples where individual names, what they do on their charts is going to be outweighed by what the sector is doing. So we got a bull break to start the day and then instantly into consolidation with the rest of the sector. So we're looking for a daily higher low to form compared to 1875, and we have to change the hourly trend back to the bulls to form a daily higher low. But clearly seeing profit taking with the sector, as I anticipate just about everybody to do. But at this point, I think CGC is more important than Cron this morning. Gotten a couple little indications early on Cron because of CGC action. So I'm watching both of them for guidance on the sector. Apple just on fire. Apple's daily resistance from here. Apple's definitely getting a bit extended on the daily chart as the RSI approaches 70. But from here, the next resistance, after we cleared 174.78, which we haven't. So 174.78, and then there's a gap on Apple at 176.27. Those Cron $22 puts from yesterday that I was playing around with are currently up about 50% from the high. Now they're up 60% from their high of, or from their low of yesterday. So I would watch the 2-minute time frames for MJ tightening ranges. DXY, bulls in full control on the bounce. It's all about the hourly uptrend. And right now they're trying to form an hourly bull flag with support of 95. Let's see. 95.87. So new hourly higher low trying to be 95.87. Bulls need to break 96 for continuation. Currently a double top at 95.98 and 95.99. Nice job for the patient Cron bulls that held through that bounce. Break-even stop was the way to go. Cron bears are going to be looking to potentially top fish the high of the day of 22.38. And Cron bears would definitely make note if CGC can break its double top at the high of the day. So SPY, we're looking at 273 psychological resistance. Facebook a bit of a laggard today as it's trying to break the high of its initial earnings reaction. And just a laggard in terms of percentage gains compared to its peers. 171.68 on Facebook is the key level to watch. So the reason we were looking bullish on the MJ sector once the bell rang is because the 5-minute RSI was oversold essentially to start the day. And we had been consolidating for about 2 hours at that point. So even though we broke key hourly support right at the open, the short-term time frames told us to be looking for the other direction. Amazon changed its trend at 1650. Nice bull signal there after the bell rang. Changed its hourly trend. Netflix and Baba are more extended on the daily and 4-hour and hourly time frames than Amazon is. So I would rule Amazon out of that bunch. But they're all still very strong. Key resistance test on Cron. This is going to be important here at 22. Actually, technically, I would look at 2240 as the key level, which we hit right before the bell rang. I'd call that our 5-minute lower high. Bears are potentially top fishing Cron. But SPY's strength at the high of the day is only going to help MJ bull bounce attempts. Checking Cron volume with yesterday. We know yesterday was huge volume, but this is already big time volume to start the day. And it's actually higher first hour of volume than we saw yesterday. So a clear bull break on Cron, very notable to break the 5-minute lower highs on that bounce as CGC breaks its double top at the high of the day as well. Just like that, CGC is going to try and go break even on the day. So that's certainly not a bull break you want to be buying on Cron because we know we're going to have to consolidate and form a 5-minute higher low. But if we look at the hourly chart for Cron, as we know, when we break hourly supports and don't see a lot of follow through, we zoom out and look for flags. So Cron is potentially forming a daily bull flag at this point. Obviously, it's very early. But this is now a shift in momentum to favor the bulls. And Cron bulls would love to hold, if we can hold anything above 2150, it'll be a healthy 5-minute higher low. XBI biotech sector leading strength this morning out of the sectors on my screen. And SPY was just, yesterday was just a slow and steady march, majority of the day bullish, and that's so far how we're starting out this morning. And again, 2 days in a row where the low of the day on oil was set as the bell rang on the markets. That was yesterday, and it's shaping up to potentially be the same thing again here. So we're still going to anticipate the MJ bulls to set hourly lower highs compared to their highs of pre-market. That's still a long way away. So while it's been a really nice bounce, there's some really big, long lower wicks on these hourly candlesticks, and we can still see follow-through from here with a 5-minute higher low and higher high. We're still going to look for an hourly lower high to form. So don't lose sight of that hourly time frame, which in my opinion is the most important for the sector and the most clear. Tesla bulls continue to surprise with strength. Double top the last 2 days, 315.30, 316.10. Those have broken. We're now looking up at 327.13. And Tesla's definitely setting up for a nice equilibrium on the longer term time frames. But the bulls have not topped out yet to give us that lower high. MTCH. I don't see a cup and handle, but it is seeing bullish continuation. Bulls bought that gap down yesterday significantly and now getting follow through, breaking the top of the bounce at this point. So new daily support is 51.50, and resistance now after the high of the day is up at 56.86. Actually, 57.82 is the most clear, important resistance from where we stand. APHA now up about, 14% from the low of the day. Continues to shine in terms of strength. It did it days ago, it did it yesterday, it did it pre-market, and now it's doing it this morning. So at this point on SPY, short-term support is 272.56. It's not a very important level, but it's the only level nearby aside from the low of the day. So healthy 5-minute consolidation for MJ, trying to form some higher lows. CGC hasn't changed the 5-minute trend yet. Just a little bit of a different setup with pre-market levels than Cron was. So Cron broke the 5-minute lower highs and CGC has not. So oil was a nice exact same setup as yesterday. This time we held the support, but it was the same dump into the open, the same 15-minute, very beat up RSI. Let's see how similar the low of the day was. So low of the day was literally at 9:30, and yesterday, low of the day was 9:55, so a little bit later. But nice job for those oil dip buyers, and we have a 4-hour equilibrium to be watching, or an hourly. We're now going to look for a lower high compared to 55.18 on U.S. oil. Cron's hoping for a 5-minute bull flag. Very healthy consolidation so far at this point. So healthy consolidation for the MJ sector. SPY bulls slow and steady, keeping their control. More pullback on CGC than Cron, so Cron is standing out as a bit stronger. XLF is at the low of the day. So we do have a little bit of tug of war going on with financial sector slightly weak, tech sector strong. QQQ at this point is a potential 5-minute bull flag, so I don't see weakness there yet. Volume. We need bear volume to change anything. So just keeping an eye out for any kind of red flags to change the momentum already starting here. If SPY does break 272.56, we'll look at the potential of a new low of the day on SPY. Again, led by the financial sector, which is clearly the weakest. Cron bulls trying to confirm their 5-minute bull flag. Key resistance 22.63 and key support is now 21.92. SPY bulls currently holding support. So it looks like tech sector holding strong is offsetting the financial sector at the low of the day. NTNX. Clear daily bull break yesterday. Nice follow through today, although we do want a more clear break of the high of yesterday, but above it at the moment. Next level, 53.39, which has broken 53.83, and a lack of resistance after that level. Cron high of day test. So again, just more bullish signs here. Cron clearly stronger than CGC, but a new high of the day. 23 psychological is the next resistance level, and now anything above 21.92 keeps the bulls in control on the 5-minute. Netflix holding the low of the day. If we get further bounce from here, we'll watch for the potential of a 5-minute equilibrium. PCG, all bulls. This is a pattern where we look for a loss of the 5-minute high or low every candle. Resistance of 1365 breaking. Now we're looking at 1360. That broke, so we're looking at 1395 and 14. SPY bulls save the 5-minute uptrend. So again, a very strong bounce in MJ, but zoom out to the hourly, and we are very likely to set hourly lower highs. Losing the 5-minute uptrend will indicate hourly lower highs likely being set. SPY back down to test support. Big bid on Cron at 22.90. It's about $900,000. Just got sold into. PLNT, daily bull break over 59.08. Just need to break 59.52 to confirm the follow through. But a nice start to the day, getting over that resistance from Friday. Not really a daily equilibrium, but clear daily consolidation shifting back to the bulls. So natural gas trying to give us that higher low now. You guys with a 5-minute inverse head and shoulders changing the 5-minute trend, which gives us our hourly higher low likely being set. And now you guys has to break 32.14 to confirm the hourly trend change. So we're going to be watching the CGC tightening range for potential clues for the sector. Range to be watching on CGC is 48.55 support and 49.47 resistance, the high of the day. Again, still have not changed that 5-minute trend on CGC. Keep an eye on natural gas today. So far, it's shaping up exactly how the bulls would want it to. Just need that follow through to higher highs now. Checking in on gold. Gold daily inside bar still intact, but we're pushing up towards the high of the day. Financial sector is still weak, still at the lows. It really is this battle where the tech sector is just trying to hold on while the financial sector is continuing to show weakness. And Cron just continues to outshine CGC. New high of the day. Next resistance is up at 23.24. Again, anything above 21.92 keeps the bulls in full control. Pretty tight range on SPY, stuck in the middle of this tug of war between financial and tech sectors. SQ consolidation more than the bulls would like to see, so more likely an equilibrium setup rather than continuation at this point. Bulls need to change the 2-minute trend back in their favor to see a 5-minute high or low established. And have to hold the 20-period 5-minute moving average. We held it all pre-market. We held it right at the open, and it's approaching now. Lose the 20-period 5-minute support, and that is a red flag with a lot more consolidation than the bulls would like to see. I don't see a bear flag on Google. It's looked very similar to SQ. We're going to look for a 5-minute high or low compared to 1121, which was a level right before the bell rang. And if we bounce, we'll look for a lower high compared to the high of the day. Very similar to SQ. QQQ is trying to make its way back to the high of the day, as is SPY. SPY never broke that support on the 5-minute. MedMen is definitely a red flag on the daily. The amount of pullback we've seen at this point is too much. There's too much bear volume behind it compared to the bull volume on the way up. Must hold support is $4, and we'll likely hold that, at least initially. But even if we hold $4 and start to bounce on the daily, we're just going to look for a daily lower high to be set. Again, it's very notable the weekly time frame for MedMen stands out as weaker than 90% plus of the MJ names over the last 2 months. And knowing that the sector has hardly even started to consolidate, that would be a bit concerning as a bull. If we're, struggling in an extremely bullish market environment, what's going to happen to MedMen when the MJ sector consolidates for a week or two? KSHB, nice continuation today over 602. Again, there's no resistance here because we dumped on bad news or on dilution news. 628 is the next resistance. The hourly time frame is very overextended. It's one of those patterns where we have an hourly high or low every single candlestick for the last 12. DXY confirming the hourly bull flag. And again, gold bulls are loving that they're holding on this strong into this dollar bull move. Oil very quickly, looking like an hourly lower high is potentially being set. We got very overextended on that bounce, and then we double topped essentially. We went from 53.60 straight up to 54.54, about a 1.8% bounce or so. Then we consolidated, and we were unable to break the high of the day by 2 pennies. We double topped, and now we're seeing some significant consolidation from that. Cron is in the green. $23.35 is a resistance level. CGC testing the high of the day. If it can see a new high of the day, that's going to help out all these bounces. XLF is still at the low of the day. It's been nothing but selling in the financial sector this morning. 5-minute just now getting oversold. Hourly chart still going to form a higher low because the last level was 25.92. SPY bulls are pleased that they're holding up this well into this weakness in the financial sector. Can't possibly answer that question, Beeswax. I have no idea the size of the position or the risk tolerance or any of that information. But it looks like a bit of an early entry as we're just now at break even. We're looking to form a 5-minute higher low on you guys right now. That would be the tightest stop. A looser stop would be the low of the day. But again, not knowing anything about position sizing or account sizing or anything like that, can't answer that question. Still tight for CGC. No new high of the day yet. At this point, if you haven't entered MJ bullish, you're not entering at this point, in my opinion, due to the hourly lower highs that we're going to anticipate. Risk to reward, not good at these levels. TRST still has the hourly uptrend. Low of the day obviously must hold. Last daily higher low was 855, so we have a lot of space to keep the daily uptrend. But if we do see a break of 982, the low of the day. The odds that we're going to break the low of afternoon consolidation yesterday, 975, will be very high. So must hold the low of the day. Cron pushing to higher highs. I'm going to start getting interested in a bearish position in Cron potentially. Although at this point I would probably wait for a change in the 5-minute trend because we know the next time we do consolidate on the 5-minute time frame, we're going to establish a higher low. Very nice follow through from that 5-minute bull flag, new high of the day continuation. And that hourly resistance is 24.61. So we're about 4% away from it. So SPY Bull still in control. The short-term support to be watching is 270, 250. It's a tightening range on the 2-minute time frame. We're either going to see the tech sector show weakness and head towards the financial sector in the red, or we're going to see the financial sector bounce and change the 5-minute trend and try and join the tech sector bulls and keep pushing SPY higher. If the financial sector changes the 5-minute trend to the bulls, SPY will see a new high of the day with how we're positioned right now. Cron's more extended on the short-term time frames than APHA is as far as the 2-minute and 5-minute. So hope you have a good rest of your morning. I'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage in the chat room. Congrats to the MJ dip buyers. And again, we got some daily bull flags setting up. The size of this bounce on Cron's hourly time frame is significant enough that even if we do anticipate a lower high compared to 24.61, which we are, we will then look for an hourly higher low compared to the low of today. MSFT, 5-minute equilibrium on watch. If we can't break the high of the day here, we're going to look for a 5-minute lower high, and the higher low of support in that pattern is 106.17. And Fidelity just gave me a news alert. Euphoria fades. After strong month-long run on cannabis names. A little bit outdated with the size of the bounce.